everybody, it's Adam and Eva with Masterlab, here to give you your daily dose of yoga, posture lab for fixed firm pose. This is an excellent posture to work the ankles, the knees, the hips. All of those joints can get a little bit wonky, so this posture is a good one to help.
Absolutely. It's one of the best postures to straighten and improve the flexibility of your knees and your ankle joints. It helps cure sciatica as well as varicose veins. It's really good for your digestive system, helping with indigestion, helping with constipation and gas, and it's really good for asthma and respiratory problems, because when you're puffing out your chest, when you're trying to lift your stomach and your chest off the ground, that's expanding the front side of your body. So as much as it's taking care of your knees, your feet, and your ankles, it's also a kind of really cool backward bend as well, because it's the next one right after the spine straightening series.
And you can see both Adam and I are sitting like this, and we've been doing this yoga now for 10 years. So don't get us wrong. If you can't get into this right away or feel comfortable like this, give it some time. This is something we are all used to. It's a very natural range of motion, but it's just something that kind of is out of our vocabulary of movement and sitting. So give it time. The other thing that we have in common right now is we both had reconstructive knee surgery on our left knee. So we can appreciate students that are struggling in this posture, because we've been there. So the most important thing right now, when you're struggling, when you're doing this posture, even if you're advanced posture, just go slow. Yeah.
All the postures go slow. All right? So one of the very first things I want to talk about is when you're getting into this posture, you find some resistance and you find a little bit of discomfort. It's not really that your body, there's a problem with your body, but it's because you're not really used to doing this. There's a restriction in the body. It's not a problem, there's a restriction in the body that we haven't really done this type of sitting in Western society, because we're always sitting in our chairs, right? So, and you start this posture, you're going to start with sitting on your feet and your knees together, and you're trying to get your ankles together, because that's going to be a really nice warm-up for the other postures, like half tortoise pose as well as rabbit pose. Whether you can keep your heels together, it doesn't matter when you're sitting down right now. It's just bringing some flexibility into your ankles. So you bring your knees together, and if you're really struggling with this posture to get into it, you can put your hands first up.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, like I said, that we've been doing this for a while, so we do definitely see people that just are here for the posture. Here for the posture. and then go ahead.
So when you're getting into this posture, so Eva, why don't you just demonstrate the normal way that you get into it, and then we'll help people that are struggling with this posture to get in, all right? So one of the first things about this posture is you want to separate your heels. So you want your heels to be on the outside of your hips. So this is very important alignment. So your heels are touching with the outside of your hips. You can't see me on that side. So you're trying to get your heels to touch your hips a little bit more on the outside. And you're trying to keep your feet straight. Your toes ideally are pointing to the back. And that brings alignment into your ankles, and that increases the ligaments, not only in your ankles, but it's also going to take care of the ligaments in your knees. So when you go into this posture, so this is good. And now you're trying to go down. Whether you have your knees together or not right now, it doesn't really matter. You start there and you just see and understand where you are, all right? So the next thing to do is put your hands on your toes. And then one by one, touch your right elbow on the floor. Then the left elbow on the floor. Head on the floor. Back of your head on the floor. Shoulders on the floor. And then you bring your arms over your head. You pull your elbows into the floor, and then you lift your stomach and your chest up towards the ceiling. By bringing your chin down towards your chest, looking down towards the midline, you're taking care of your thyroid. And as you're lifting your stomach up, you start getting into your spleen. So the next thing you want to do, you want to try to bring your knees together as tight as you can. Not only that, but you want to push your knees into the ground. You never want to let your knees to come off the floor. There's a big saying that we always say, don't mess with your knees. You can mess with the gloves, but you can't mess with the knees. So that's why your knees are very important, not only in balance, but in coordination and walking and movement. Your knees are very important, and this is one of the postures, the best ones to actually heal your knees. So, once again, you're bringing your knees together and you're pushing your knees into the floor. So this looks pretty simple. You know, you're just hanging out here, 5 seconds? 10 seconds? It's very easy, right? No, it's not that easy. All right, nice change, all right? So now when students are struggling, this happens all the time. Students are struggling with this posture. Like I said, it's very, very normal, right? So the first thing you want to do is put your hands in front of your body, in front of your knees. Good. And now, yeah, exactly. You can get off your heels. Now you separate your feet. Now you try to sit down. And now you can open up your knees as much as you need to. As much as you need to. Take care of the pressure in your knees, your feet, and your ankles. So a lot of students can come up a little bit higher. So if you can't have if your hips don't touch with your heels, that's okay. We're going to get there. How do you get there? By allowing gravity to bring you down. But even if you're here, this is fine. Eva's very flexible. Maybe I should demonstrate this one. All right? Let me start demonstrating this one because I'm a little bit tight. All right? So when students, new students, once again, knees together. Put your hands here, you separate your feet, you try to sit down, and if it's not there, you can open up your knees as much as you need to. You can put your hands here, you can put your hands here. First set maybe here, first set maybe here. That way you're taking a little bit more pressure off your knees, and if you have bad ankles, you put your body weight into your fingers. One of the biggest misconceptions out there is that you have to have your hips touching with your floor in order for you to go back. That's not true. Because you're going to allow gravity to bring your hips down. Just think of how many legs does a chair have. Chair has 4 legs. A table has 4 legs. So if you take 2 legs off of that chair, then there's going to be so much pressure on the first 2 legs to hold that entire chair or anyone sitting on the chair. Same thing with the table. The more surface area you can touch with the floor, that means less pressure in your knees, less pressure in your ankles. So that's why you're trying to get your shoulders onto the ground. So if you're way up here, well, obviously you're not going to be able to go down. But if you're about here, and this is where you start talking with your teacher. This is where the teacher is guiding you and noticing you by paying attention in your practice, and it's going to help you get all the way down. So just like I mentioned, you try to get down. If you can't get down, you're going to bring your hands down, you're going to bring your elbows down, and you're going to allow gravity to bring your body down. Because gravity is going to bring your body down. And the moment you have your elbows down, there's less pressure in your knees. Because now I have knees, now I have feet, now I have elbows as contact to the floor. So there's less pressure because now it's distributed. The moment I get my head and my shoulders on the ground, now there's more distribution once again, and there's less pressure in your knees. The key in this posture is obviously what sensations do you feel? If you feel a dull, aching, burning sensation, well, that's okay. You're opening up the body. But if you feel a sharp, stabbing, shooting pain, hold off. Back off a little bit and use a little bit more of the hand strength. One of the biggest things, now if Eva comes back in, one of the biggest things that we see is students think they have to go all the way down. They don't need to go all the way down right away. Take your time. So one of the things students do is they want to go down and they start allowing their feet to rotate out. So they start pushing their feet that way. So their feet start going that way. And it hurts my sister and it hurts me watching students do that. So ideally, you want your feet straight.
Or you come down and the knees come off the floor like that.
Exactly. So separate your knees. Create more surface area, and ideally, you're pushing your feet into the floor. You're pushing your shins bones into the floor. You're pushing the bottoms of your knees into the floor, and you're pulling the elbows to the floor, and that's what's allowing you to lift your stomach and your chest up towards the ceiling.
There's another good piece of advice we can give you too, as you noticed and we went over it, that first you sit on your feet. And I love this analogy because if you think about it, your hip joint is the same joint as your shoulder, knee as your elbow, and your ankle as your wrist. So they have the same kind of movement and capabilities. Your knee is a hinge joint, so it goes up and down. If you try to move it like we do here, heel out, without it being fully bent, there's absolutely no way your knee can move when it's extended. But once you bend your knee, so you're sitting like this, then you have a wee bit of movement here, and that's exactly the movement that we're talking about. So it's safer for your knee. So first, feet together, open up your heels, and then if you need, open up the knees. No problem at all. So try it that way. Go step by step. Work with your anatomy.
So when I first started this posture, when I first started this practice in this posture, I was way up here, and I thought it was going to take years for me to get down. I started here. But within 3 months, I went all the way down. 3 months, 3 months. So if you've been struggling this for a couple of years, please talk to your teacher. Don't be afraid of this posture, because this is an amazing posture. It's going to give you confidence that your body is healing by able to sit down. You're like, oh my goodness, I haven't been able to do this since a child. And your body is healing. And that's the power of this yoga. You see transformation happening inside of your body. You start feeling better, and then you start coming back more, because now the transformations you see on the outside, the transformations that are happening on the inside are a little bit more subtle. But once you start seeing the transformations on the outside, you're like, yeah, this yoga actually is working, and that gives you more confidence to keep coming back. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the last thing we'll talk about is the energetics of this posture. It is a sneaky backward bend, because you're lifting your stomach up and you're lifting your chest off the floor. By doing that, you're releasing, once again, the Kundalini energy in your lower spine. So that's helping you feel more energized. And as you're bringing your lower body up, your hip bones are touching the floor, but you're trying to get, once again, your stomach off the floor. That's really like way in the lower spine, a little bit of the sacral region as well. That's really allowing you to liberate your sexual energy as well. So it's an amazing posture for so many reasons.
I think that's everything for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll get back to you with the next one. Have tortoise pose.
Take care, guys.